Uma. Today we're going to go over how to make your paints, mixing them up. And so this is what I have found to produce the least amount of variables, trial and error kind of stuff. So the things that I have is just a basic kitchen scale, and I got this one from Walmart many years ago. The next thing that I have are my paints. Actually, we'll go with pouring medium, it's right in front. This is 70% glue all, Elmer's glue all, and 30% bottled water. Then I have two different colors that I'm going to show you. They're two different brands. So I just want you to see that sometimes there are differences in the brand that you buy as far as the consistency. So the first one is Craft Smart White. It's in a big pump. Second one is Metallic Blue by Loft. That's more of a cream, so it's much thicker. And then I also have little Dixie cups. I use these if I'm going to mix up a little bit or put it, if I'm going to do, put it into a bottle, but I need to check the formulation. I use these. If I'm going to use them later or save them, if I'm going to make them up tonight for tomorrow, then I will use these little condiment cups. They come with a lid. They are linked below in the description for Amazon if you are interested in getting those. I also have little craft sticks, which are also linked in the Amazon store below. And I have a little paper towel just to wipe my craft sticks on. And let's jump right into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the blue. And that's the one I am going to be saving in this little cup for an actual pour. The other one I'm going to be mixing into a bigger bottle later. So I'm just going to mix up a little bit now to make sure my formulation is correct and to show you guys how to do that. So the first thing I do is I change my units to milliliters. It's easier, in my opinion, to use milliliters as you're measuring. It's much more accurate. So I put the cup on first, then I turned it on, and now it is at 0. If I take the cup off, it's at -2. So this weighs 2 milliliters. Okay, now I'm going to take my craft stick. I'm going to stir it, and we will check for consistency. So it's still pretty thick. You could at this point do 1:1 and then add water to thin from here. I will usually go 2 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint before I add more water, before I add just water, I should say. That's just something I do. Again, it works well for me. So I'm going to go ahead and take this to 30 total volume. We were at 20. It's that 1 milliliter, that's the hardest. Okay, there we go. 30, so this is now a 2 pouring medium ratio to 1 paint ratio. $20. It's that 1 milliliter, that's the hardest. Okay, there we go. 30, so this is now a 2 pouring medium ratio to 1 paint ratio. I'm going to go ahead and check that. That is much better. It leaves a mound, as you can see. I'm liking that a lot. It's got the consistency of honey. I don't know if you can see that, but if I draw a ring, it stays for a few seconds. Or if I mound it, a little mound stays. So we're gonna go the 1 paint ratio to 2 pouring medium ratio for this one. And then I just use my paper towel to wipe off my stick so it doesn't get stuck on everything and get paint everywhere. And I reuse these. Put the lid on my little container, and then don't have my Sharpie with me because I used it for another project. But what I would do is just write on here what it is, metallic blue. I usually do the initials of the brand so I know. And then I've already done this on here. Previously is on the actual bottle. I don't know if you can see that or if it's fuzzy. A 1 paint to pouring medium ratio. So I didn't have to remeasure this, but I wanted to show you in a video, how did I get to the 1 to 2? That's how. So I put that to the side, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do my white. It's the same, it's the same weight as the other little cup, even though they're a little different in shape and material, they're still the same weight. So I've got my Artist Loft paint. And again, we're gonna go with 10, and my scale just turned off, so I'm gonna turn it back on again. Okay, there's 10. And 10 of this. Taking it to 20. Total. Okay. And now we stir. And this one I can tell right off the bat, it's very thin. It is too thin. You can see, but it doesn't really leave a ring that stays. You want one that stays at least a few seconds, or a mound. It goes right through. So I'm actually going to put in 1 more part of paint. So another 10. Stir that up. We'll check for consistency. That is better. You want your paints to be pretty much the same consistency or as close as possible. So I'm actually going to add, that seems to work pretty good. So I can feel in the painting that it's much thicker. There's a little more resistance. It's more like stirring honey than before. It was like stirring water, pretty much, with no resistance. So let's check for consistency again. See how it's much thicker? It does leave a little mound, and we'll go ahead and do a circle, and it does leave a little circle. It's hard to see on the white, but I promise it's there. So for this one, I'm actually going to do 3 parts paint to 1 part pouring medium. And that's it for mixing your paints. Again, the pouring medium that I used was Elmer's glue wall, 70% glue, 30% just, I used bottled water. That way there's a less chance. You can use distilled water if you want to make sure that there's no chance for any kind of mold over time. But in my research, I have found that the spring water or like RO water yields pretty much the same results. So it's one less thing that I have to go to the grocery store and get. So I already buy bottled water, so I do that. If you wanted to do this process in the little cup to determine and then make up bigger portions like I'm going to do, then you just take your formula, and then again, this is where the scale is helpful, because if you're eyeballing it, it's really hard, especially if you're using a container that tapers. It would be harder to determine, am I really getting 1 to 1, 3 to 1, 1 to 2. So with the scale, it allows you to be able to do that. So then you would just do that same process over. You would tear out the scale to make sure it's at 0. I should probably take off the cap first. And then just start. You already know how much it is, and then you know how much your volume is. These are 8-ounce bottles. So you could just divvy it up. If you know you need 3 parts of paint and you have 1 part of water, and you know your total volumes of your container, then you can just divide that out and then do that much paint and that much pouring medium, and you quickly have a way to make bigger size portions of your paints. And the only other thing I'd like to say is thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have found this to be informative, educational, fun, and I've got some other stuff coming up. I've got a how to make pouring medium video, and I'm going to do some pours, some sandwich pour, flip cup, and a dirty cup. Maybe not a dirty cup, I might do a funnel, haven't quite decided. That might be a surprise one, but definitely a flip cup and definitely a sandwich pour. So please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And my daughter would like to end by giving her little message for you. So I will leave her to you. Thank you again. See you in the next video.
Hi guys, this is Puma Cub. If you like this video, give a like and subscribe, and ring that bell, ring-a-ding-a-ling, to see what's new. Bye for now.